Peter King back here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Peter?
Hey, thanks, Rich. So nice of you to say. Happy New Year to you.
It is a must-read every single darn week, Peter. What would you say is the story of Week 17, now that we're a few days removed from it? What's that story?
The Bills making it, and the Bills totally freaking out and being so happy. And Rich, I'm just going to read you. I'm just going to read you one thing that, in my opinion, sums up what really is special about the Buffalo Bills. Okay? Richie Incognito. He's played everywhere. He's seen everything. And Richie Incognito, on the bus, on the way from the stadium in Miami to the airport to go back to Buffalo, said to me, "This win is for the city of Buffalo. This is for the people from all walks of life, the average Joes who show up at all our games, rain, sun, wind, snow, sleet, everything. And all they do is root their asses off for us. This city is the butt of jokes. Everybody makes fun of us. But these people, they just keep coming and supporting us week after week. The city's amazing. I'm telling you, this wins for them." That is the coolest thing. It's just because we get so spoiled by, the money and everything else. But I'm just telling you, this is one of the reasons why I hate the fact that the Oakland Raiders aren't going to exist anymore. The Oakland Raiders should exist in Oakland till the end of time. The Buffalo Bills should exist in Western New York till the end of time. There are some places that do not deserve to have their hearts ripped out and their guts ripped out, despite whatever the economics say. And that's why I was so happy for the Buffalo Bills on Sunday night.
Yeah, and also their fans deciding impromptu. I don't know who decided. I'd love to know who was the first person to say, "Let's donate to Andy Dalton's foundation."
I know, it's fantastic. I'm watching the CBS Evening News last night, Jeff Glor, and they're halfway through the show, and there's Andy Dalton and his wife on a remote sitting in front of their Christmas tree, just mouths agape saying, "My God, these people gave us $170,000. It was unbelievable.
It's great. It really is great. And we were discussing it earlier on, too, Peter. Did that pass save Marvin Lewis's job, too, in a way?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, Rich, it's Mike Brown just can't quit Marvin Lewis. It's just, I don't know. If I were a Bengals fan, I'd be totally exhilarated by the end of that game. And quite honestly, I'd be depressed, and again, I love Marvin Lewis.
We all do.
But I mean, it's just time. It's time to try something new. It just is. It's not working. It hasn't worked. And they have a competitive team. It's a good team. There's nothing wrong with the Bengals. It's just that Mike Brown is an insulated guy. And, look, I lived in Cincinnati the first 5 years of my marriage, the first 5 years of my professional life. I covered the Bengals. Paul Brown was as good as any human being could ever be to a young writer trying to learn football. I stood with him in Wilmington, Ohio, 2-a-day practices in 1984, and he taught me football. It was an absolutely incredible experience. And I really, really have great affection for the Brown family. But it's time to move on from Marvin Lewis. I don't know why they don't see that.
Peter King of the MMQB, the MMQB.com, joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. So, yes or no, right now as we're sitting here, Gruden call that game on Saturday on ESPN in the booth? Do you think he's there?
Oh, I think so. Isn't he going to be there?
Well, I mean, he says he is, but to me, I think he says he is, and ESPN says he is because the Raiders have to satisfy the Rooney Rule, right? I mean, that's the only reason why he's calling his staff around. My colleague and yours, Ian Rappaport, said either he's going to have the greatest flag football coaching staff or he's going to coach the Raiders based on what he's doing right now.
There's a reason why Paul Guenther, I think, isn't very aggressively going to take one of these jobs. Right? Hey, I'll just say this. If you see Paul Guenther take another job, then defensive coordinator of the Oakland Raiders, be careful because maybe this thing blows up. Rich, I wrote about this today, and I was told that Mark Davis, since his father's death, has tried 3 previous times to hire Jon Gruden and failed every time. And that isn't to say in no way that it's going to fail this time, because I think it's absolutely going to work. But I'll believe it with finality when I see him at the press conference. But it strikes me that he's doing this game this week, and they'll announce it Monday or Tuesday. But I don't know anything solid about that.
Well, I assume he'll do it without seeing the practice of the Chiefs, right? I mean, there's no way.
I would think. I would
building.
think that Andy. But the only thing I would say about that is that Andy Reid is probably his number one mentor in football. And so he and Andy Reid, it's bigger than this football game for them. But again, I don't have any idea what the rules of engagement are going to be this week.
Peter King joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show for a couple of more minutes. Have we seen all the shoes drop of coaching in the NFL right now, Peter?
I'd be curious to see what happens in Tennessee Monday or Tuesday. Not that I'm expecting Malarkey to go. I'm waiting to see what happens in Tennessee. I'm waiting to see what happens in Houston. It appears as though Bill O'Brien's going to stay. If for some reason Bill O'Brien doesn't stay, that could set off a very interesting chain reaction. Bill O'Brien is eminently well-liked. And in a year where there isn't a slam dunk assistant around the league, I think Bill O'Brien would upset the apple cart in a lot of ways and might even cause some teams that thought they were retaining their guy to make a different decision. But that's just that I don't expect to happen. I expect O'Brien to stay in Houston, especially now that it looks like Rick Smith is going to be off for an extended period of time with the terrible news that his wife is battling breast cancer.
Right. So I've got 90 seconds left, which is an absurd amount of time to try and capsulize the Hall of Fame vote. But I've got the heart out at the end of my first hour here, Peter. Who do you think makes it? Who do you think makes it in the Hall of Fame?
I mean, look, Ray Lewis is going to make it. I think Randy Moss is going to make it. I think Tony Baselli's going to make it. But again, I mean, every year, I'm surprised. You know, I've heard a lot of buzz in the last few weeks about Ty Law. You know, he might make it. I don't think that there is an absolute slam dunk guy beyond Ray Lewis, and everybody else is up for debate.
Peter, really appreciate the time. We'll chat hopefully one more time before the Super Bowl and then at the big game too. Always love our chats.
Sounds great, Rich. Love being on with you.
Thanks, Peter. That's at @SI_Peter King.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.